Kadosh, Boker Or, Shavua Tov. Masechet Nedarim Daf Amud Aleph 89a1. But we're going to start on Pechet Amud Bet 88b, the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, "V'neder almana u'grusha yakum aleha." A neder of almana u'grusha, since she doesn't have a husband, right? So therefore, the husband does not do afara nedarim. Kate said, "What's the case?" Amra areni nizira le'achar 30 yom. If she comes and she says that she's a nizira after 30 days, even though she got married within the 30 days, the husband cannot do a farat nedarim, because remember that the husband cannot do a farat nedarim on something which was previously done. That's the rule. The rule is the husband can only do it if he's the husband during the time of the neder. If it's not during the time, says the Mishnah. But what happens if she makes a neder and she is in the reshut of the husband, meaning she's already married? Meferla, he could come and he could do a farat nedarim. Kate said, "What's the case?" Amra hareni nedira lachar 30 yom av b'shenita nikasha betoch 30 harei zu mufar. Right now, if he comes and she says she's going to be a nazira after 30 days, and then she became widowed or divorced within 30 days, but he already did a farah nedarim, it's mufar. Why? Because since the husband did a farah nedarim, that's it. Nadrabo bayom nikasha. What happens if she made the neder and she got divorced and he took her back? Eno yachol le'afer. He cannot do a farah nedarim. Why? Zeh kelal. The second that she went out from her own reshut, meaning she went out of the reshut of the husband to her own reshut for one moment, even though the husband divorced her and took her back, the same husband. We're not talking about a different husband. Same husband. Eno yachol le'afer. He cannot be mefer. We're going to see now why. Tanya, we learned in the Braita, says the Gemara, Peitet Amud Aleph on the top. Tanya, we learned in the Braita, almana grusha she'amra nizira lechshe'enaseh. Imagine a woman comes and she says she's going to become a nizira when she gets married. When he said and she gets married, Bishmael says yafer, he could do a farad nedarim. Rabbi Kiva says lo yafer. Right? Rabbi Kiva says you cannot do a farad nedarim. Okay, so the first shita said that you could do a farad nedarim, right? Because since she went and she said that it's only going to be chal when she gets married, and now she's married, so now the husband, it's right now the neder, right? Rabbi Kiva says no. Why? Because when she made the neder, she was still not married. The simana yaleli. Okay, there's a whole siman here of yafer lo yafer lo yafer yafer yaleli yafer lo yafer yafer yaleli. Eshet ish shamra, a woman that she's married, that she says hareni nizina lechshet garesh. She's going to become a nizina when she gets divorced. When he garsha and she gets divorced, Rabbi Ishmael says lo yafer, right? She cannot do a farat nedarim. Why? Because since it becomes the chalot, which means when's it going to become chal? Only when she doesn't have a husband. So now the husband cannot do a farat nedarim. Rabbi Kiva says, lo tamid. Right? ברגע שיש לה ילדים והכל, היא לא תמיד יכולה לחזור לאבא שלה. Rabbi Kiva says, yafer, you could do hafara. Okay? Now he comes and he says, right, like this. He comes and he says, Hamar Rabbi Ishmael, says Rabbi Ishmael, Hare Omer v'neder almana grusha yakum aleha ad she'eh neder b'shat almanot u'grushin, which means the neder almana grusha, which means like this, that when it says that it's going to be a good neder, it means that it has to be a neder b'shat almanut v'gerushin. It's going to be a neder that has to be chal during the time of manut grushin, and therefore you cannot do afarat nedarim anymore because it's already after gerushin. Rabbi Kiva holds no. Hare Omer, it says kol asher asera al nafsha, anything that she's prohibiting herself, until the isur of the neder itself is going to be during the time of the girushin. So since right now it's the time of the saying of the neder, not the time of the chalot of the neder. One more time, the woman here is making a neder. I could look at it in two ways: when she said the neder, or I could look at it when is the neder chal, when does it come into place? So therefore, that's a machlokah between them. Rabbi Kiva says it's when did you say it? She said it. She was married. So therefore, right now the husband could be mefer. According to the first shita, which was Rabbi Ishmael, he says no, it has nothing to do with when you said it. It has to do when it's chal. When it's chal, she's already divorced. She's divorced. The husband cannot do afarat nedarim. She's on her own, right? And therefore, that's why that's a machlokah between them. So Amar Rav Chasta, says Rav Chasta, matnitin Rabbi Akiva. Do you know that our Mishnah is teaching us the concept of Rabbi Akiva, right? And not like Rabbi Ishmael. Abai says, no, what are you talking about? Our Mishnah, afilu that you could say it's even Rabbi Ishmael. Matnitin talia nafshab yomeh. Our Mishnah, she was making it chal after the 30 days. And in such a case, Rabbi Yishmael holds that the Zman HaKovea is the Zman HaMirat HaNeder. But the Braita is Talyan Hashem ben Nisuin, meaning like this. There's going to be a big difference between days and between marriage. When does Rabbi Yishmael say that the husband has no jurisdiction? If she's making a neder depending upon marriage. If she says when she gets divorced, this is what's going to happen, the husband cannot do anything. Because the entire neder was depending upon divorce and marriage. But what happens if she makes it dependent upon time? She says she's going to become a Nazirah after 30 days. There, since it's not dependent upon marriage and it's dependent upon time, Rabbi Yishmael admits to Rabbi Akiva that right now it's Chal the Neder, it's just a time frame. And therefore she could do Hafara Nedarim, he could do Hafara Nedarim right now. That's what the Abaye comes and he argues on Rav Chasta. So he says, time is not, what happens if it comes to 30 days and she doesn't get divorced? Or it finished the 30 days and she doesn't get married and she's still a pnuya. So therefore, in such a case, in these cases, it could be that since during the time, between the time of the saying of the Ned and the Chalot, she's in the same Reshut. Okay, Rabbi Yishmael is modeh that it's right now the Zman of the Amirah, the saying of it. Right now when she said it, is she married? Yes. So the husband could do Hafarat Nedarim. This is a general rule. Tektani gaben aram orasa laituye. Right? Allah ha'av im shluchei ha'bal, or shalchu shluchei ha'av im shluchei ha'bal b'na'ara me'orasa da'avia u'bala mefidim nidreah. Do you remember we said that as long as she's a na'ara, the husband and the father, they do a farat nedarim. So it doesn't matter whether it's going to be the father is going with the shluchim of the Baal, or the shluchim of the father are going with the shluchei ha'bal, with the na'ara me'orasa. Both of them do farat nedarim, the husband and the father. This is a general diktani gabe ve'elu nedarim. What happens if the father already gave over the daughter to the messengers of the husband, or the messengers of the father gave them over to the messengers of the husband? And the husband cannot be mefer with previous nedarim. And this is what we mentioned before. Meaning, if she came and she made a neder prior to marriage means prior to nisuin, not erusin. Prior to Nisuin, the husband cannot do a farat nedarim to anything which is prior. That's what we learned. So we learned from here that when the husband comes in, he could only start doing the farat nedarim from now onwards, right? Not right before. Meaning it's not that the husband, no. If she came in when she was 15, she made a neder that she's not going to eat chocolate, and now she gets married, the husband cannot do a farat nedarim. She would have to do hatarat nedarim, because her husband cannot do hefer, hafara, that could mean in something which was previously done. It says Peitet Amud Aleph towards the bottom, Mishnah, second last line. Teisha ne'arot nidrehen kayamim. The Mishnah is going to speak about nidrei isha, which are not going to be able to be annulled by the father. There are 9 girls that they cannot do a farat nedarim to them. And we're going to explain, right, the entire concept. Number 1, bogeret. When she made the neder, when she was a bogeret, vehi yetomah. So first of all, she's a bogeret. Remember, bogeret is after 12 and a half. 12 and a half and onwards, and she's a yetomah b'chaya avia, which means she became a yetomah. Number 2, when she was a na'ara, and then bagra. She made it, right? She made the neder when she was a na'ara, then bagra, and she's a yetomah b'chaya avia. Okay, in the lifetime of the father. Number 3, Nadra, when she was a na'ara, shelo bagra, v'hi yetomah. She made the neder when she was a na'ara. She didn't have bogeret yet. But, again, yetomah b'chaye avia. That means she made the neder, she got married in Nitalmana al-Gashan, she's still a na'ara. So the nedarei are kayamim only because she's a yetomah b'chaye av. Okay, those are the first 3. So the second set of 3 are going to be nedarei kayamim because she was a yetomah mamash, which means that abat shemet avia. Okay? The first 3 cases, even though it says yetomah b'chaye avia means she's a yetomah, and the father's still alive. What does it mean b'chaye avia? Meaning she's a yetomah and her father's still alive. How could that be? It means that the fact that she came and she got married, and then she got divorced or widowed, and she's still a na'ara, the fact that she got fully married, not only just a na'ara, nisuin me'orasa, me'ureset, she got fully married, she goes out of the possession of the father, and therefore, even though when she gets divorced or widowed, she does not go back to the father's property, even though she's not a bogeret, and the father cannot do a farat nedarim. And therefore, she's like a yitoma, that she doesn't have a father, even though she's not. So the first three cases, the father's still alive. That's why it said, she's a bogeret, v'yitoma b'chaya avia, meaning, when she made the neder, she was a bogeret. And then she became divorced and widowed, right? And she's still what? Yitoma b'chaya avia. She's like a yitoma. Yitoma, the father's still alive. The father cannot do the hafara nedarim. Why? She's a bogeret. The second case was na'ara. She made the neder when she was a na'ara. Ubagra. And then she became a bogeret. She got divorced and widowed. Again, yitoma b'chaya avia. The third case was na'ara shelo bagra. And she's still considered yitoma b'chaya avia. Right? Why? Because we said that since she was already fully married, when she gets divorced or widowed, she does not go to her father's possession anymore, which means that the father cannot do hafarat nedarim. That's called a yitoma b'chaye avia. B'chaye avia means that even though the father is still alive, she's still considered like a yitoma. The next case is be'emet, the father died. So that's going to be the next three cases. Okay? So the next three cases, bogeret umet avia. She's a bogeret and the father died. Number 5, right? Na'ara. And then she became a bogeret and the father died. And the third case was na'ara. The father wasn't become a bogeret and the father died. And she's still a na'ara. In all these three cases, the fact that what's it called? The fact that the father died, there's no afarat nedarim because the father mamash died. The last three cases are going to be that the nedarei are kayamim, only because she's a bogeret, meaning that technically speaking, she would have been able to do a faran nedarim, but she's a bogeret. So number 7, 8, and 9, 7, nara shemet avia, umi shemet avia bagra, a nara that the father died, and when the father died, she became a bogeret, or bogeret and the father is still alive, or nara bogeret ve'avia kayam, nara that she became a bogeret and the father is still alive. In all these three cases, it's because she's a bogeret. So therefore, you come and you see that the fact that she's a bogeret, that's it. Because remember, the second a girl becomes a bogeret, there's nothing to talk about anymore. She's already on her own reshut. She's on her own possessions, and therefore the father cannot do anymore. Hafarat nedarim. Says the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda says, another case where she's going to be considered yitoma b'chayav. What happens if he got his daughter married off when she was a ketana, and then she was nitalmana or nitgarsha, and then she goes back, right, to go back to the father when she's a na'ara. In this case, the nedarim are kayamim, and the father cannot do hafarat nedarim, which means the fact that she came out of her father's possession, right, not only is to do with a nara, even to do with a ketana. I mean, she got married when she was a ketana. But the fact that now she's coming back to her father only when she's a nara, the father cannot do hafarat nedarim. This is the shita of Rabbi Yehuda. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. But Chachamim say, Shalosh ne'arot nidren kayamim, bogeret v'yitoma b'chaya av. According to the shita of the Chachamim, they argue on Rabbi Yehuda, right? That means basically this entire Mishnah was basically Rabbi Yehuda, right? Rabbi Yehuda. Now we have shitat Chachamim. According to shitat Chachamim, there are only 3 ne'arot, right? A bogeret, which technically speaking, that was the entire third case, but okay, like, the 7, 8, 9, bogeret basically. The bogeret, her nedarim are kayamim. Yitoma, the be'emet, the father passed away. And yitoma b'chaye ha'av. So basically, they come and they say that there's only 3 sibot, right? Which you have. It's true, you do have the 9 cases, but Rabbi Yehuda himself chilek et shalosh letesha in order to be mechadedet talmidim. But he comes and he says, Rabbi Yehuda, he's ma'adif lashon brura. The Chachamim, they ma'adifim lashon ktsara. So therefore, according to Chachamim, just remember 3 things: bogeret, yitoma b'chaye ha'av, v'yitoma. That's it. 3. According to Rabbi Yehuda, he wanted to explain each one, so that's why you had 9. The truth is, it's basically the same thing because the cases were the exact same, but just in order to do lashon ktsara or lashon aruka. Next Mishnah, Petet Amubet. Kunam shani nene le'aba ulavicha im osa ani al picha she'eni nene lecha im osa ani al pi abba ve'al pi avicha harezi yofer. So imagine right now a woman comes and she tells her husband she doesn't want any hana'ah from my father or from your father, right? Or, right, if I'm going to prepare you food or I'm going to do any other melacha, or she comes and says she doesn't want any asura, everything is going to be, any hana is going to be asura. If she's going to do this melacha for you, for my father, for your father, harezi yafer, he could come and he could do afarat nedarim, right? Because it's all al tonight, and still the husband could do hafarat nedarim, even though it still was not chal. That means even though she says it's only going to be prohibited if I'm going to do a melacha for you, she didn't do the melacha yet, but it was al tonight, but it was still not chal. She didn't do it yet. Still, he could do hafarat nedarim. Okay, says the Gemara. Tanya, we learned to the Braita. She'eni nenet le'aba ulavicha minose leficha. She says, I'm not going to benefit from my father or your father if I'm going to do something for you. Rabbi Natan Omer, Rabbi Natan says, you're not allowed to do hafarat nedarim because there's no chalot of the neder. There's no, it wasn't chal yet. If it's still not in place, how could you do hafarat nedarim before it's actually chal? It didn't take into it didn't go into effect yet. Chachamim say, no, you could do hafarat nedarim. Another case, she's going to be prohibited to every single Jew and even to the husband if I'm going to serve you. Rabbi Natan says, lo yafer, you can't do hafarat nedarim. Chachamim say again, you could do hafarat nedarim, even though the neder was not chal. So it's two different cases, right? Again, according to Chachamim, even if the neder is not chal, you could do hafarat nedarim. According to the first shita of Rabbi Natan, no. Next case, how gavra ditzar ne'eta d'Elmaleh. A person came and he prohibited himself from everybody in the world. Inasiv iteta kilatanina yilchata. If he's going to come and get married to a woman before he learns halacha, which is Mishnah. Rahit begapav etovlaya. He's coming and running with his makel and tarmilo, which means he was trying as much as he can to learn. So that's why it means that he was running with his, with his staff and with his, velo imtzil mitra, but he wasn't able to learn. So therefore, he didn't want to get married. Ata Rav Racha bar Rav Huna v'shabshe. So Rav Acha bar Rav Huna came, and he basically went and he said, right, that he's not going to be asur. So he went and he got married to a woman, right? And then what happens? Chala neder. So basically, this person came, Rav Acha bar Rav Huna, and made him make a mistake. And all of a sudden he came, and he told him, no, he says, no, you're not going to become prohibitive if you get married. Go get married. He got married. Now all of a sudden neder is chal. The sharketina, right? So what happened is that in order to show that he's needed by everybody, he put him like clay on him, and then he came in front of Rav Chasta in order to be matid the neder. So then obviously we're going to see, who's the one, like to try to be matid this neder. So we'll go through it Bezrat Hashem tomorrow to be matid the neder Bezrat Hashem.